I think impact is something that reveals itself over time. Teachers that I met at summer programs when I was in my 20s, and words that I heard them say and lessons that they were trying to teach me that revealed themselves over many years' time. And I could never have imagined how much those people would have influenced my career choices, my repertoire choices, the way I looked at a piece of music or at another person or a conductor. And I love the idea that we can be that person for so many of these young musicians who are so ready to be inspired and open to new information. So that's what I hope.
There's so many things I hope, and I feel like I'm still learning. And I just came out of teaching some lessons, so I'm struck by that, by the feeling of a student going out, knowing better how to navigate, fill in the blank, their own technique, difficult environments, production that's challenging, a piece that's challenging. I feel like part of the impact I hope to have is one of confidence in their ability, in their artistry, in their choices. And then the other thing that strikes me was the performance last night of a student singing in a chamber concert that I think she saw a new side of herself. So I love the idea of having an impact of opening doors for a student that they didn't know were even there, or showing them a side of themselves they didn't even know, so they leave this summer feeling like a new artist. I feel like those two strike me.
There's a moment in Ravel, L'Enfant right now, where I'm watching the two pianists play piano four hands. And I know that when the summer began, they had no idea what this experience would mean to them. And watching them come together and share music in that most intimate of settings and to smile and feel confident about that, I know that they will look back at that experience 20 years from now as a highlight. And I love that those highlights weren't programmed or they weren't expected, but they come around every corner.
Yeah.
I had an interesting thought today because I was thinking about how we structure our program here and curating to the individual. And everything we do is based on music being a team sport, but it's also at the same time a very individual race. And as much as we rely on all of our team of language coaches, conductors, musicians, pedagogues, at the end of the day, every fellow has to be focused on their journey, and we're focused on their journey singularly, what they need, how we can get them from where they are to the next step. But I love that duality.
I love that. I feel like I learn all kinds of things here, just both from watching colleagues and then watching students and the risks they take. I think to see someone half my age use a performance to just soar can't help but inspire me. And I feel like some of that I'm aware of and some is working subconsciously. It's like, and then I'll get ideas. Like we just did Carmen, and I found so much inspiration just watching the Carmen own the room. And I thought, well, if I ever have the opportunity to sing this role, I'm going to think of this singer. I'm going to think of this cast, So I feel like I'm also just getting inspiration by watching people be liberated on stage, And then the instrumental faculty, So talking about collaboration, that just fills your soul in a certain way. So John and I got to perform just a few days ago together, and we're pinching ourselves. Like, how are we making music with these beautiful musicians and humans, if we can, make a distinction, because their generosity is as exquisite as their sound, right? They're listening. And I think that kind of feeling, it's hard to quantify, it's hard to describe, but it fills you up with good vibes. It reminds you of why you're here, which probably gives you a boost going out into the more difficult scenarios and long seasons, where there's less access or immediate access to that. One of the things I've learned from you is how to speak with kindness always. So even in difficult circumstances, or even in tricky conversations, or even if you were to disagree with someone, although we rarely disagree, you find just the way in to speak to someone that they will hear with kindness, with acceptance. That's the first thing that came up for me. There are many things I have learned from you, but sometimes I sit back and admire the way you talk to a student or the way you talk to a faculty. And when we did auditions, we were hearing hundreds of people. And no matter if you were exhausted, at the end of the day, you would say something to a student to show your gratitude for singing for you, for playing for you, which I just always was awed by.
I love that. Thank you. I look at you and I'm reminded of fearlessness. Like, there's no challenge that we ask our students that you haven't yourself faced, and that there's nothing you back away from. There's no repertoire, there's no challenge, there's no new idea, and I think everyone else sees that too. I think they look at you and they see, I can do that. Nothing is impossible. And that I see that in our programming of repertoire, chamber music, opera choices, everything. It's really inspirational.
Wasn't expecting that. Love it.